feel that in your heart now. I hope that changes this week. But the other one is to love your neighbors yourself. And I heard a story once in a devotional a long time ago, and it's really stuck with me. And I've used it before in different, speaking of things I've done. And I'm going to use it again here just because it really drives the point home what I want to talk to you about. Back in the 1940s, there was on the Michigan Wolverines football team. It's a football story. They were not good at all. They went for 4 seasons and won a game in those 4 years. These last 2 years, they hadn't won a game. They were 0-30 in the last 2 years. They've been moving in and out of coaches. They've been bringing guys in, taking guys out, trying to find some guy who's going to turn things around. It just hadn't happened. Middle of the 1940s, they brought in a guy named Fielding Yost. Coach Yost had a good record at other schools, but was basically a guy that nobody knew. And so it was kind of figured he'd go to Michigan because they had no program whatsoever. Before the season started, as soon as they hired him, they had a press conference with him, a bunch of other coaches, and a bunch of other seniors. And they asked him at this press conference, he hasn't met the team yet. They asked him at the press conference, what do you think is going to happen next year, Coach? Coach Yost stops for a second, he looks around and says, we're not going to lose a game this year. And everybody kind of laughs and chuckles at him and stuff. They think he's making fun of the team. And it was kind of embarrassing for the seniors, and they got a little upset about it. But they said, okay, how's that going to work? He said, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to win the Rose Bowl. That's our goal to start with. He said our secondary goal is nobody's going to score a point on us all year. And it was kind of outrageous call. He said no touchdowns. He didn't say anything about it. He said no touchdowns. Next day, he goes back to the locker room. We're supposed to meet the team at this time. 4 or 5 seniors come up to Coach Yost and say, Coach, what's going on? We're embarrassing us in front of the nation. That's going to be in every paper. That's going to be all over the country that you said we're not going to have a point scored on us next season. He said, yeah, that's true. You don't think you can do it, can you? They said, well, no, we haven't won a game in 2 years. If we win 2 or 3, we'll be doing good. He said, all right, well, I'll tell you what, you're going to do it, and you're going to do it like this. And he walked over to the chalkboard, he wrote one big word on the board. He wrote love. He said, I'm going to my office. You guys sit here. Collectively, I want you to come up with a definition of this word. I want you to tell me what this word means. When you get a good one, I can let you go home. But until then, you're staying here. About 5 or 6 hours later, they've been bringing in definition after definition after definition. He says, not good enough. It's not good enough. Finally, he came out of the office. He said, guys, I'm going to tell you what love means. Love means if you're a wide receiver and you love the quarterback, you're going to do everything you can to catch that pass. Same thing for linemen. You're going to make as big a hole as you can. He went on and he made the whole analogy of the football team. That next season, Michigan went 15-0, won the Rose Bowl, and won the Rose Bowl 17-3, had 1 field goal scored on them that year. Now, a lot of things happened that year, but I believe that the main reason for that is because of what Coach Fielder said. That's a football analogy, and that's what love is for a football team. Now, we're not a football team. We're a family of God. We're supposed to be following Christ. And the most important thing you can do at our age is to love each other. And if you love each other, you're going to open the door to 100 different other opportunities. But right now, in our time, in our day and age, and the way things are with us, everything's based on appearances. It's based on how you act towards other people. It's based on what's cool and what's not cool. You know, a guy carrying his Bible around isn't cool in most places. Here, it's different because we're all here for the same purpose. When you go back home, the people you're going back home to weren't up here this week. They didn't hear the things you heard. They don't have the same beliefs you have. And they're not going to know what to think about you. But I'm telling you right now, if you love other people, if you show your love to other people, that's a way you can show God to them. And if they can honestly look at you and say, you know what, this person, we may be different, we may have different beliefs, but he's happy, or she's happy. She loves me, and I like the way they treat other people. I want to know more about this person. And that's opening up a door opportunity for you to walk in. People want to be loved. It's a human nature and human need to want to be loved. You want to be loved, you want to be accepted. And it all starts on the inside of yourself. You have to love yourself. When you love yourself and understand that God's forgiven you for everything, you can start to love other people. When you start to love other people, you can bring more people to God. Now, a lot of these things are common knowledge. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you haven't heard. Obviously, we all here know we're supposed to be good to each other. We're supposed to love each other. We don't always do it, but we're supposed to. What I want to challenge you to do this week, I want you to figure out what love means to you. I want you to figure out how you really feel towards other people and how you really feel towards yourself. Because how you treat other people is a direct reflection of how God's going to treat you. And I'm telling you right now, if you love other people, if you treat other people the way you would want to be treated, you show compassion, you show caring nature towards other people, God is going to bless your life in ways you never knew possible. So what I want you to do is this week I want you to start. I want you to start loving every person around here right now. I want you to look next to you, look around you, look behind you. There's people around here that are from different states, different cities, different everything. We're all different. The only thing we have in common right now really is God. And that's the biggest thing in the world. I may not know you from a man on the street, but we have God in common, and so we're family. And I love you. And I hope that you'll love me despite my mistakes, despite my faults, the same way you love each other, despite all your mistakes and all your faults. All I'm going to ask you, when you go home this week, I want you to take this. Most of you, some of you may not feel it, but this week, most of you are going to find a spiritual high, as some people like to call it. You're going to find this week, and you're going to say, man, I got things together. We're going to have that night up at the amphitheater on Thursday night. There's going to be a lot of tears shed. There's going to be a lot of confessions made, and there's going to be a lot of promises made. And I'm asking you right now to honestly think about what love means to you individually and what you want to do with your life. And when you leave here, show it to the rest of the world. When the rest of the world sees it, you bring it to God. Don't wait for the church to do it. Don't wait for your preacher to do it. Don't wait for somebody else to come along. You bring someone to God. If you bring one person to God, there's no telling what can happen. One person can make a world of difference. That one person could be you, or that one person could be one person that you influence the course of your life. I just want to tell you these guys, these things to think about the rest of the week.
And everything he said, I just want to amen. I think he's right on target. That love is the thing that's going to change the world. There's this contest, and the last three contestants, remember what they were in 1 Corinthians 13? Faith, hope, and love. And the winner is love. So you cannot go wrong with that concept in your life. Even with everything that he said, I'll be sharing, there's still people in the world that find it very hard to love themselves. I've met people supposedly if they have a good day or everything goes fine, they become frustrated. They don't know what to do with a positive environment. I heard one time this guy was driving home kind of late at night, and he was thinking, talking to himself. He said, I bet I'll have a flat tire before I get home. In just a matter of minutes, his tire started flapping. He said, I knew it. He said, I bet I don't have a jack. He opened his trunk, there's no jack. So he looks about 2/10 of a mile away, and here's this farmhouse. He starts walking toward it. He said, I bet there's no one home. He said, I bet if they're home, they won't get out of bed. He said, I bet if they get out of bed, they won't have a jack. I bet if they have a jack, they won't loan it to me. So he knocks on the door, and the guy comes to the door, and he said, you just keep your jack. I don't want it anyway. So many of us, we just tell ourselves all these things that we really don't expect a lot out of life. But I call them death, life. Anybody understand that? I want to squeeze all I can out of this journey called life, so they just wear out. I hate to go to bed at night thinking someone's still up having fun. I enjoy life as much as anybody I know. We have very little of this world gives. I told the boys that if they ever have a falling out, Jeff and Mark, our two sons, and go their different ways, they won't be able to provide the inheritance. So Paul said in 2 Corinthians 6:10, though poor, yet possessing all things. So we're poor rich men. You have Christ in your life, like he was talking. You love your family. You're rich. These little things I'm reading here are from the mouths of babes and fourth graders, completing the following famous saying. The grass is always greener when you leave the sprinkler on. A rolling stone plays a guitar. A bird in the hand is a real man. You have nothing to fear but homework. If you can't stand the heat, don't start the fireplace. A penny saved is nothing in the real world. This is fifth graders completing the following famous saying. It's always darkest before daylight savings time. Never underestimate the power of termites. Don't bite the hand that looks dirty. A miss is as good as a mystery. You can't teach an old dog new math. and I don't mind, is the best way to relax. 2's company, 3's the musketeers. You get out of something what you see pictured on the box. When the blind lead the blind, get out of the way. If you lie down with the dogs, you stink in the morning. This lady went to a lawyer, and she told the lawyer she wanted a divorce from her husband. And he said, "Do you have any grounds?" She said, "Well, I own about 20 acres." He said, "No." He said, "Do you have a grudge?" She said, "No, I parked my car out under the heavens tonight. I don't have any place to put it." He said, "No." Said, "Does your husband ever beat you up?" She said, "I get up before he does every morning." And the lawyer said, "Why in the world do you want a divorce?" She said, "My husband has trouble communicating." So it is interesting, of all the words that are shared, words only make up 7% of communication. Tone of voice 38% and body language 55%. That is so good. So someone can say, "I told you I'm not mad." So the word says I'm not mad, but your tone of voice and body language says what? I could wring your little neck. So it's amazing the nonverbal signals that we send each day. In Matthew 22, I appreciate all your comments and things that you have shared, and your attention is so encouraging to a speaker to see the respect and listening and your openness and transparency. It's very encouraging to me. But these verses, if you love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbors yourself, listen to me carefully, there's no way you can go to hell. You ever heard that phrase? I spent a lot of years trying to stay out of it. And that will depress Norman Vincent Peale. That's about exciting crashing Tupperware party. Not to know who you are and who you belong to and where you're headed. So I want you to see, if you're a child of God and you're serving Him tonight, you're just as saved tonight as you can ever be. If you read 2 books of the Bible every day and never miss a church service and eat Lord's suppers and take food to shut-ins and visit hospitals, you cannot be any more saved than you are tonight if you're a child of God. Does everybody believe that? Do you live that way? You're ready for the sky to split tonight, right? Jesus being there and just head on out here without passing go collecting $200. Just go right to heaven from Black Mountain.
Yeah.
We all want to go, don't we? But we want to choose the time. We want to tell God how old we want to be and how many states we want to travel to and how many countries we want to see and how many kids we want to see. But if the time were tonight, are you ready to vacate the premises and get out of here? I think we need to be. I asked my wife, Barbara, a number of months ago, I said, "Honey, how many Christians do you know that you believe are homesick for heaven that have not been diagnosed with a terminal illness?" She said, "I can't think of a soul." You think, what's wrong with this picture? We come to these settings, we talk about heaven, and we all want to go, but we want to choose the time. So I'm thinking we need to have a greater homesickness. I want to ask you a question. If I were living with me, would I want to stay around?
Probably not.
Something to think about, isn't it? You think you're fun to be with.
Oh yeah. Most likely.
Y'all talk at home, y'all just pass notes across the dinner table. I love participation, you understand? 2 guys were talking one morning and said, one of them said, "You wake up grouchy the morning," he said, "No, I just let her sleep." These 2 little boys were talking, one of them said, "Does your dad have a den in his house?" He said, "No, he just growls all over the house." We're told by society that great lovers are great dressers, great dancers, great shoppers. They go to the right stores, drink the right wines, drive the right cars. They use the right hairspray, toothpaste, deodorant. They're happy, beautiful people who succeed on the job and in the marketplace. That's what you're bombarded with every single day from TV and that world in which you live. And you feel like, unless you look like a number 10 and have a 4-point grade average, there's no need to get out of bed. There's no place for anybody second, third, fourth. We all got to come in first, right? That's unbelievable pressure that goes with that. I was in a beauty contest one time. I was the only one that ran, came in third. So I'm learning to laugh at myself and with myself. You understand? as I said last night, we take ourselves way too serious. I was unable to compete with the 4-point grade average. I was confused early on in school, first grade. One day I went and the teacher told me 4 and 0 was 4, and the next day they told me 2 and 2 was 4, and the next day 3 and 1 was 4, and I said, look, when y'all make up your mind, I'll come by.